What's going on, Flicks Talkers? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, consider sticking around where I do movie reviews like this, trailers, movie reactions, and so much more. And as just a heads up warning, this will be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry if you guys have not seen the movie yet. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion and honest thoughts on Zack Snyder's new film, Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, which did get a limited theater release but is now streaming on Netflix. And the quick synopsis for this film is, when a colony on the edge of a galaxy finds itself threatened by the armies of a tyrannical Regent Balisarius, they dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them take a stand. Alright, so this film is directed by Zack Snyder, and it's very, very evident that it's being pushed, that this is being put out by Zack Snyder. His name's in the forefront, his style is all over this movie, and for the most part, I really do like the directing style of Zack Snyder. Some of my favorite films from him have to be 300, Watchmen, and believe it or not, the Dawn of the Dead remake in 2004. I think it's one of the better remakes that we have. All right, so some of the things that I really do love about this movie, and I had no inkling really too much of what went on in this film at all. I didn't even see a trailer beforehand. I think I might have seen a teaser trailer, but not a full trailer. So it's safe to say that my expectations were very low going into this movie. I knew about Sofia Boutella, so to see that she was attached to this film, it got me interested. I really do like her in the movie Climax, as well as the beloved Tom Cruise classic that a lot of you guys like, The Mummy. Bad joke, I know. And as the release date for this movie got closer, they started to release some behind the scenes fight choreography with Sofia Boutella, and I was like, okay, now I'm getting a little more interested. But before I get into the character of Cora, played by Sofia Boutella, let's talk about this world building, this planet that we're introduced to. Oh my gosh. This planet of Velt looks so cool. It looks just so cool. I don't know how else to describe it. It looks like a slash between a red Mars planet just clashed together with Viking farmers. I don't know really how much to describe it just based on the attire. It looks very cool, the world that we're kind of thrown into immediately. Zack Snyder definitely has a knack for colors where things are very vibrant, even if they're neon, from the gun shooting where it's almost like laser metallic bullets flying by you, but it's bright purple and pink, but somehow at the same time balancing that gritty, dirty grayscale on people's skin or in the shadows. And it's really emphasized in that Zack Snyder slow motion that you guys have definitely seen in all of his movies, like Watchmen, like a 300. And yes, a lot of people don't like it because once you find something that works for you, a lot of directors will overuse it. And is it overused in this movie? Absolutely. But I think once you get immersed in this world, you just have fun with it, and it adds to these climactic action scenes. Now, once again, I didn't know what I was getting myself into going into this movie, but I saw along the way, at least when I got to the middle point, that this was going to be a very cookie cutter type of planet in trouble. I need to hire or find as many assassins and convince them to try to fight for my planet before time runs out type of movie. And yes, I've absolutely seen that before. I can't really call it because sci-fi is not my forte, but I definitely got feels of The Matrix. I got feels of Star Wars in here. There's even a character that reminds me of Han Solo in this movie. So I think Zack Snyder took a lot of elements of certain sci-fi movies or older inspirations and kind of smashed them together and implemented them into Rebel Moon and definitely made it his own. Okay, let's get into Sofia Boutella as Cora. Now, I haven't seen every single movie that she's in. I just slipped my mind right now, but I did see her in the Kingsman film, which I thought she was great. She played a very good villain. I could definitely see her in more action roles like this, but that's all surface level. I want to get a deeper emotion, and I think they tried to pair the throwback connections that we got, a lot of throwback memories to when she was younger, and that kind of once again goes into some of my tie-ins of influences that are already there, of lore that's already there. So once again, without spoilers, I'll just say we do get a Thanos Gamora type of situation where they do allude to some things in her past. So since I've seen that story already done before, seeing it again was not that razzle dazzle to me. Once again, very cookie cutter, but a way to implement kind of her backstory. But I thought she was pretty good in this movie. She tried to bring the waterworks, she tried to bring the dramatics with the emotions, and in that department, I didn't really feel it from her. I felt it more on the action front. I felt like that she really had to prove herself, and I think she sold me in that department, especially when it came to the action scenes. Yes, she has a lot of help by Zack Snyder's slow motion in these scenes, but there's always this thing where people are gonna say, hey, she's a 125-pound woman, how can she be flipping 200-pound men? But I think in some of these shots, they do a good job of showing how that could be possible. And it's not just her flipping people over, it's her stabbing people, it's her shooting people at close range, it's her hitting people with sticks in the face. There's a lot of other things that you can do besides go full Charlie's Angels and just start flipping people around. Also, I think that there was a motivation there for her to save the planet of Velt that she necessarily wasn't born into, but she fled to. But she found a deep appreciation and loved these people that she was with. Okay, next up, Jimon Hansu as Titus. Man, this guy really needs no introduction. And in this movie, we're introduced to him as like, whoa, what is this guy's backstory? Which, no spoilers, we don't get too much of his backstory. He's just really more implemented in this team up. And I think that's where part 2 could possibly elaborate on these characters. For part 1, we're definitely focused on Cora and the farmer that she's with, as well as Kai, played by Charlie Hunnam, which I'll get into in a second. So he's more of a mystery, though he is a general, and he kind of is talked about a little bit throughout the movie. When push comes to shove and the action scenes are kicking in, he's definitely just kicking ass as usual. Okay, now back to Charlie Hunnam's character, playing Kai. Now he's the Han Solo character I was referring to a little earlier in the review. I really do like Charlie Hunnam. Sons of Anarchy, I get it. It's awesome. But I think the acting ability kind of just, it doesn't stretch that far. I'll just say he definitely does have an interesting character, but it was overall lackluster for me when it came to him. Now, Ed Skrein as Atticus Noble, who you guys probably know from Deadpool as Ajax, at least that's where I know him from. I had to do a second take and look his character up because I was like, is that Ed Skrein? He got a lot thinner in this movie from when I saw him last in Deadpool, where he was a lot more beefed up. But let me tell you something, where he lacks in the physical department, oh my God, this guy's mental and menacing presence on screen is very, very matched with any seasoned sci-fi villain that you'll find on the big screen. I really did fear this guy, and anytime he popped up on a planet or threatened someone, I definitely felt it. And it was all a buildup. It was all a lead up, because at first you think, okay, maybe he is a compassionate person. Maybe he's going to come to an agreement with these people. But when push comes to shove, he does show that he is a fierce fighter for his king, for his master, for his slain king. Okay, without getting too much into spoiler territory. And I appreciated every minute that we saw with him on screen. He's probably one of the stronger characters in this movie, I'll be honest. Okay, so Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. Should you see it? Definitely see it if you are sci-fi fans. Now, I'm not the biggest sci-fi guy, but I threw this on and I did get immersed in a world that was definitely different to me, definitely different cinema. I mean, not only are the literal world building of the planets very fascinating, but you get creatures and there's bar scenes that are once again very reminiscent of Star Wars, but you get to see people that are not just human-like. You get introduced to so many different creature characters, and that was very, very fascinating to me. And I think it would be more fascinating to someone that really does like that stuff particularly. And if you guys are coming from the Zack Snyder action slow motion world, I think that'll really satisfy you in that department as well. The very minimal points to me that I think they could have amplified was maybe a little bit of the action or the gore. At least this definitely felt like, and I haven't looked it up yet, it felt very, very PG-13 when a lot of the shooting was softened or minimized. You know, when you saw a bullet wound, you literally just saw some of the embers coming off because of the heat of the bullet or laser, whatever that was being shot at this person. You didn't see any blood or gore, and that's just a personal preference. I would have liked to see a little bit of that, especially when it came to some of the slash and gash of the knives. Sometimes that brutality does help with the dramatic feels of the scene. So all in all, guys, I think I'm going to give Rebel Moon Part 1 a solid 3 out of 5, and I'm definitely looking forward to part 2, as they do show a trailer for part 2, which is coming out in April 2024 at the end of this film. So let the credits roll, they'll show you a little bit of preview. All right, Flix Talkers, what do you think of Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire? What do you rate it out of 5, and are you guys looking forward to part 2 coming out in April? And if you guys did appreciate my thoughts and review, please hit that big thumbs up to support the channel, and consider subscribing today, where I do more reviews like this, movie reactions and trailer reactions here on the channel. Also, if you guys want to follow me on all my social media links, I'll leave all that down in the description below. All right, Flix Talkers, till next one, I'm gone. Peace.